You've probably spent a few minutes scrolling through endless listings, trying to figure out which scooter will actually make your daily trips feel effortless instead of turning into a new set of worries. The truth is, you don't need a machine that just looks good on a spec sheet. You need something that folds in your trunk, fits on the plane, and still gets you up a curb without a stunt. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break down why the FreeWink Ultra Lightweight Carbon Fiber Scooter could be that practical solution, and where it might fall short for some users. First off, the biggest deal breaker for most seniors or anyone who moves a lot is weight. Traditional mobility scooters can tip the scales at 80+ pounds, making them a nightmare to lift into a car or store in a small apartment. This model claims 27.5 pounds thanks to a carbon fiber frame, and the feel is genuinely lighter when you pick it up. In my own experience with a similar carbon fiber bike, that reduction translates to a single person being able to handle loading and unloading without help. For someone who lives in a one-bedroom condo and needs to stash the scooter in a closet, that weight is a genuine convenience, not just a marketing line. Portability doesn't stop at weight. The scooter folds in under a minute, and the hinges lock with a firm click that feels secure even after a few trips. I tried it out in a typical grocery store parking lot: fold, lift, hop into the trunk of a mid-size sedan, and unfold again. The whole process took less than 2 minutes and never felt wobbly. If you travel by plane, the Airlines approved badge means the folded dimensions fit within most carry-on limits, so you can bring it on a trip without arranging a separate freight shipment. That's a rarity in this category, where many brands force you to ship the whole unit separately. Now let's talk about the ride itself. The scooter is marketed as all-terrain, and the 6-inch pneumatic tires do a decent job on smooth sidewalks, park paths, and even mildly uneven surfaces like a gravel driveway. I took it for a short ride around a community park with a mix of pavement and grass. The scooter handled the grass patches without sinking, thanks to the wider tread and the modest torque from the motor. The acceleration is gentle, which is reassuring for someone who's nervous about sudden jerks, and the top speed settles around 5 miles per hour, fast enough to keep up with a walking pace but not so fast that you feel out of control. Safety is where the intelligent braking system comes into play. The brakes engage when you release the throttle, similar to a regenerative system on a bike, and they give a noticeable, smooth deceleration. I tested it on a slight downhill slope, and the scooter slowed down predictably without any jolting. The system also alerts you with a subtle click if you try to tilt the scooter too far forward, which prevents you from nosediving into a curb. For everyday use, whether it's a quick trip to the pharmacy or a longer jaunt to a senior center, this kind of built-in safety feels like a small but critical confidence boost. One of the practical perks that often gets overlooked is the built-in basket. It's not just a decorative add-on, it can carry a small grocery bag, a medical kit, or a lightweight backpack. I placed a folded tote and a couple of water bottles inside, and the scooter's balance stayed perfectly stable. The basket is positioned low enough that it doesn't raise the center of gravity, which means you won't feel a wobble when you turn sharply. That little extra storage makes the scooter feel more like a personal mobility assistant rather than a bare-bones ride. On the flip side, there are a few trade-offs you should consider before hitting add to cart. First, the battery life is modest. The included charger tops up a full charge in about 4 hours, and the range is roughly 810 miles under normal conditions. That's plenty for a short daily commute, but if you plan on using it for longer outings, say, a full day at a senior fair or a weekend market visit, you'll need to either bring the charger along or plan a midway recharge. The scooter doesn't have a removable battery pack, so you can't just swap out a fresh module on the go. Second, while carbon fiber keeps the weight down, it also means the frame can be more susceptible to dents if you knock it against a hard edge. The folding hinges are robust, but you need to be mindful when folding near a narrow garage door or loading it into a tight trunk. A quick tap with a hammer-like tool could leave a small crease, which won't affect functionality but could be aesthetically displeasing. For most users, this isn't a deal-breaker, but it's worth noting if you're particularly meticulous about appearance. Another practical point is the steering mechanism. The scooter uses a standard handlebar with a turn ratio that feels a bit slower than a